comedy gold.
I did not just hear that.
1, 2, 3, 4, go! Team Titans!
Oh my god, why do I do this? Well, you're probably saying, why did this take so long? When was part 1? A month ago or something like that? I don't even know. Well, to be brutally honest, I've been a little bit busy, and that means I've been doing absolutely nothing. I actually have been watching 2 shows as of lately, or actually 1 as of right now, and that's Breaking Bad and Avatar: The Last Airbender. I have got my hands on the complete series of Breaking Bad. You know, I even came with some extras and stuff like that. I'm probably not going to pay attention too much to the extra stuff, at least not right now. It's a total, you know, it's the entire series, the complete series on Blu-ray and stuff like that. It's awesome. It's so good so far. And at the time I was going to make this yesterday, I was like at the end of season 3, but I just started like the first episode of season 4. And I'm really getting into it, man. It definitely picked up around season 3 because the first 2 seasons was kind of like, well, you know, they're good, but I don't see what people are talking about. I think it's the show Breaking Bad is still a little bit overrated, but it's good, you know. Avatar: The Last Airbender, I haven't started yet. I want to watch that, so that's probably going to be the next show I'm going to watch after this. But you don't want to hear about that. No, we're here to talk about Teen Titans Go, and we're finally gonna finish this. Okay, we're gonna finish this motherfucker today, man, because I am so sick of this show and I want nothing to do with it. All right, if you already seen my part 1, if you haven't, you should probably go check it out now. You basically get my first impressions, my real big thoughts on the show and whatnot. I'll reiterate here in part 2, but for the most part, part 1 is basically my sum up of what I think the series is going to be like and stuff like that. As I mentioned in part 1, the only episodes I was going over was the ones from the first DVD. And that's season 1, part 1. Since there are a lot of episodes and they decided to break the DVDs up into parts, so there is season 1, part 1, and there's season 1, part 2. I don't have part 2, I just only have part 1, so that's only going to be the episodes I'm going to review. I'm not going to worry about the episodes after that because that's a lot of episodes and they pretty much stay on the borderline of themselves. So pretty much what I said in part 1, I still mean it. Even watching like the rest of the episodes on the DVD, I still mean it. My opinion on it has not changed. It's still just as average and borderline basic as you can get as for a comedy show or just an animated show in general. This is part 2. So with part 1, we basically watched the first episode together, and I cover what I thought about the episode, what I think about how the series might progress, and how I'm seeing it so far, and to my point of view of how the other episodes compare to the first episode and whatnot, and blah blah blah, whatever. Okay. So part 2 is going to be, if you didn't see part 1, part 2 is going to be about me listing my top 5 best episodes from the season. Oh well, from the DVD, since I've only seen the DVD. I think there's a season 2 out already. I haven't seen season 2, so I saw no episodes from that. So I won't include season 2. This is just straight from the DVD I got that I mentioned in part 1. So I'm just going to cover that. So I just picked the 5 best, the 5 most tolerated. Because like I said, my view on this show is very minimum. And I didn't even want to do part 2. That's how much I just want to move on from this show. But I need some closure and I got to end this right. So yeah, so let's go over the top 5. I actually have my little list right here. And let's start off with number 5. Pie Bros. Yeah, you're probably saying, oh, this is a bit cheap, isn't it, Sora, for you to be picking the second episode out of the entire series, but I gotta be honest. Why I picked this episode as my number 5 is just for one fact. And it's the stuff that goes on in the background. Okay, so a little recap. This episode is about Cyborg. Cyborg's birthday's coming up, and Beast Boy wants to get him something for his birthday. Well, what should he give him? Well, how about a picture that he just drew out of the blue, which is actually pretty stupid. Well, of course, Cyborg wants something else like, I don't know, a brand new video game. So because of that, Beast Boy thought that he had the gift that he wanted, but it turns out he doesn't. So what does he do? He actually goes and gets a job, which is reasonable. And I don't know whether this is a nod to the original series. I doubt the show was actually that smart. But in the original series, Beast Boy actually did get a job because he had to pay for something, and I actually forgot what it was. Anyway, I digress, not worrying about that. For this one particularly, he just gets a job so he can buy Cyborg his new video game, which you kind of wonder how much is that video game, because he seems to be working a lot of days. What I particularly like about this episode is not the plot itself, it's not what's going on with the Titans at all, because they are not interesting in this at all. What I really like, what's going on in the background with the character Mother May I, who we know is a villain if we seen the original series itself, and well, she's a known DC character. Well, lesser known DC character, but we know, people know who she is. In the background, Mother May I is actually hypnotizing people and bringing them into the back room, which we never see again. And this is what made this my top 5, is because how little disturbing it is. She hypnotizes people, brings them into the back, and you never see them again. She normally comes out with pies later on, which can only be assumed that she's some form of a cannibal. And she actually puts people into her pies, which the Titans sort of catch on later on that might be what it is, after they've been hypnotized themselves. So it's like, okay, so they actually figure out that, oh, well, they don't figure out, yeah. What can I say about this? Really, what can I say? I just think that it's disturbing. I just think that what goes on in the background is way more interesting than what goes on in the foreground, which is a shame because these 5 characters are the characters that you're going to be following through the entire series. And they're the most uninteresting aspect of this entire episode. The part when they get hypnotized is actually pretty funny, and you can see her. She takes them into the back and puts them into a big machine and basically makes pies out of them. But it turns out, oh, don't worry, the Titans are not dead. Even though they actually give the illusion that they're dead and that their friends are actually eating a part of them. That's kind of weird, show. That's very weird and it's kind of disturbing, actually. The show basically just showed cannibalism. And I guess it's alright because, hey, you know, we're just throwing it for the kid crowd and stuff like that. No. It's freaking weird and just seems to be, I wouldn't say out of place in this show, but just seems to be freaking disturbing. I'll leave it at that because I got really nothing else to say about this episode besides that. Mostly what goes into the background is what's the most interesting aspect of it, and that's it. Moving on.
I hear she bakes people into her pies.
Someone's been reading too many fairy tales.
No, I suspect the secret ingredient is love.
Okay, my number 4 pick is actually called The Date. This is about Robin and his obsession with Starfire, which is actually pretty creepy as well. They kind of make him more of a stalker, if anything, in this show than compared to the first series where it was more a subtle romance and it was actually blooming over time. No, Robin is just straight up obsessed with Starfire, and what he wants more than anything is to be on a date with her. So he'll do anything to that point, even to capture another superhero just so he can go in his place. Really? Oh, anyway, he captures another superhero known as Speedy, hijinks ensue, and that's pretty much it. Well, why is this my 4th pick? Well, it's only because of one element. The voice in his head.
There was something about Starfire that made him nuts. Not the kind of nuts that put a knot in your stomach or made you want to climb a mountaintop to shout out your feelings. No, the nuts that made you hear voices in your head. Voices like mine.
I'm not gonna lie, that actually got a little chuckle out of me. If anything out of this episode I actually care about is the whole voice in the head thing, and how it actually, his own voice that he's hearing is actually assuming that he's crazy for hearing a voice. Even though it turns out later on at the end of the episode that other people can also hear him too, which is pretty odd. But considering the fact that the voice itself actually says, well, you're crazy, even though I'm a voice that comes out of nowhere, it's pretty funny. And that's it. Yeah, that is like literally the only thing about this episode that I like. But guess what? What makes it better than the last one is that it does not take place in the background. This is in the foreground, like this is part of the main story, this is with the characters and everything. This isn't something like where the last episode, where I was more inclined to pay attention to what's going on in the background than anything. In the foreground, Robin is actually, well, they make him out to be a pretty crazy character. And I guess that's an interesting take on it, but it doesn't really help Robin's reputation at all. People already think that his character is a little funny to begin with. But well, I guess this show wasn't here to make character development, it was just here just to make fun of things. And for the most part, they kind of fail at it.
Speedy has been acting quite strangely.
Yeah, I think he's a little, you know.
He's not the one who's hearing voices.
Don't make me come in there!
Number 3, Ghost Boy. Yeah, this is another Beast Boy focused episode. Anyway, Beast Boy is pulling pranks because he wants to get noticed, I guess. And he pretends to be dead. Of course, only revealing himself to Starfire, who is the most gullible one out of all the Titans and will most likely believe it. So because she believes it, he actually gets her to do a number of chores and some other things for him that makes her basically exhausted. She ends up blabbing to the other Titans that Beast Boy's ghost is kind of haunting me and only I can see him and he's making me do all this stuff, blah blah blah. What I particularly like about this episode, or should I say once again find disturbing a little bit, and why I made this my top 3 is because it actually kills off all the characters one by one. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not uncommon in this series. The Titans seem to die off a lot in this series. This isn't the one time that a Titan has died in this series before. But this particular one literally kills them off one by one in some very gruesome ways. Cyborg gets mauled to death, Robin falls to his death, Raven gets shot by a laser which they don't explain where it comes from, disintegrating her. Starfire, the same thing as well. You think that she's going to be crushed by a falling rock, but she's not. She just gets hit by a laser and she's dead. It's like, okay. And Beast Boy also falls to his death in a pit of lava, and he dies. Where do I even start? Of course, the original series tried to be more realistic in a way to try to not kill off the Titans like that, but just killing them off in general just seems weird and out of place, even for this show. And they try to play it up for laughs, but it's not really all that funny. There's even a part when Beast Boy laughs at them and he says, well, you know, you're dead and I'm not. What? Okay, did I just hear that right? Like, I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. Anyway, why I named this my top 3 is because that it's gruesome and it kills off all the characters. And anything that kills off anything on this show is good for me. So, of course, they're going to be back in the next one because none of the episodes are connected. So they can kill off the characters as many times as they want. And trust me, I will be happy for it.
Got you guys! I wasn't gonna jump. I knew you guys were pranking me the whole time.
We all just died trying to save you.
I am so angry I could push you.
But you can't, because you're a ghost. Well, that was fun.
Number 2, You're Fired. This is kind of another Beast Boy focused episode. Seriously, why are we having so many of these? Anyway, Beast Boy gets fired and they need to replace him. What I particularly like about this episode, or why I named it my top 2 Tolerate It, is kind of because of the cameos. You got cameos from characters that we've seen on Justice League before, and, well, Justice League Unlimited. And of course, we see it in other places, but there is one particular cameo that I like, the Wonder Twins. Oh my god, I laughed so hard when I saw them. I was like, really? The Wonder Twins? Okay, cool fact that the female is actually voiced by Tara Strong, but skipping that for a moment here, I do kind of like how they made fun of the fact that the brother always turns into a liquid, which I thought was a useless power, why his sister was the one that had all the cool powers.
Twin powers activate! J-Pop, Tiger!
That tiger is awesome! Form of water! That tiger is awesome!
Anyway, this episode in particular did get a laugh out of me because they actually made the brother a receptionist while making the sister the actual hero that's part of the Titans. But the problem is that she couldn't activate her powers without her brother, which made it hilarious because she has to run back to the tower. Doesn't matter where they're fighting, she has to run back to the tower so they can do the fist pump, and so she can turn into whatever the hell she wants to turn to. I found that pretty funny. I also found it funny how after all these years these characters make an appearance. And number one, kids who watch the show, because you cannot tell me this is for anybody over the age of 13. I wouldn't believe you, I will call you a liar. They're obviously focusing this on a younger generation, a very younger age, and who the hell is going to know the Wonder Twins? Like seriously, unless those kids actually get up and do research after this, they're not going to know who they are. It's just so funny that they actually keep them there, and they actually keep them for the whole episode, which is pretty neat, I'm not gonna lie. That's the only thing I like. That's like the only thing I like about this episode was just the cameo appearances and the Wonder Twins. Nothing more, nothing less. And my number one pick for the top 5 most tolerated episodes from this entire show is Tower of Power. Why did I pick this? Well, this is more of a cyborg focus episode, and it's actually the one that kind of made me laugh, only because of, once again, the references, the puns, the cameos, so to speak. Yeah, more emphasis on references than anything. When Cyborg is explaining stuff, he's actually talking about different things that actually happened in life, that happened in real life. And one of them was talking about the VCR. Really? The VCR? There's literally no point for this being here, but what he's talking about is the VCR. And how you couldn't fix the clock and everything, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's not particularly interesting. Like I said, this show is basically made up of references, and there's actually 3 references in this whole description of the VCR. The first reference is actually a reference to the Batman animated series, which is actually pretty neat, I'm not gonna lie. Seeing this in this show, I was like, oh well, you know, at least they're referencing good shows. Another one was actually having a VHS copy that says Cats Don't Dance. Wow, really? Cats Don't Dance, a 1997 Warner Brothers flop that took at least, I think, $30 million to make. That was its budget, and only made about $2 million back. Yeah, it was a box office bomb, but you know what? I actually like Cats Don't Dance. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good movie. It does suffer from one thing, and that's only because, the main character is kind of dull. But that's about it. And to be honest, this is one of the only references I heard about this show, well, this movie, after all these years, since 1997. And it had to be in Teen Titans Go? Oh, yeah. That's what we do. That's us, Warner Brothers. At least I know Warner Brothers hasn't forgotten about the movie, but why don't we put an unsuccessful movie into a somewhat unsuccessful show? Yeah. Also, that's Iron Giant next to Cats Don't Dance. What the fuck is up with that? There's also another reference to the TV show Webster, but what? Why? Why is there a reference to Webster? Why is there a reference to VCR? Why is this stuff here? It doesn't need to be. It's just like they just had to fill up time, and they just wanted to make a reference to sound cool. or some type of pun or something. I don't know. Anyway, from then on, it's just Cyborg being crazy. His interface is actually part of the tower now, which gives him complete power of the tower. Another thing I want to mention in this episode, once again, it's disturbing. It doesn't kill off the Titans, but what it actually does is cuts off their heads and add it to appliances. Just look at this image for a moment. That's fucking creepy. Yeah, this whole show is creepy.
Love some with my toast.
Oh, no way! Check it out! I can turn the light on and off with my tongue!
Seriously, guys. You're getting crumbs everywhere.
And well, that's it for my top 5 most tolerated episodes from Teen Titans Go. If you think I'm going to review anything more, no. No. You see how uninterested I was in doing this part 2. In part 1, yeah, I was, enthusiastic about doing this because, I'm going into a series. This is going to be my first series review. I'm ready to do this. I'm throwing it on out there. And there will be a link to part 1 in the description box. But I was ready to do this, man. And I sat down and had to watch this show. And I was just so bored. It's doing this just now. I'm sorry I wasn't enthusiastic about this. I didn't talk as much. I actually stuttered, stopped speaking, took my time and everything. And this is going to take some heavy editing, so you might not notice it as much. But, God, I actually stopped and started walking around, especially when I got to, which episode was it? Ghost Boy. Oh man, once I got the Ghost Boy, I was like, okay, I gotta get up and I gotta do something else. I've never done that with a review. I never just stopped talking and just got up and not doing that, because I love doing this. I love reviewing. I like reviewing. I like media. I like the stuff like that. I like movies. I like TV shows. I like video games. And okay, this is going into a personal thing, but so I'm just gonna stop here. I want nothing else to do with the show anymore. Nothing of interest here. Like, basically what I just showed you in this top 5, that's basically the tone it keeps. It's so borderline average. It might get a chuckle out of you once, but something that's just made of references and puns and stuff, anything that's talking about something else that happened years ago or whether it's happening now, is just doing it just for the moment. Just because something's popular now, that doesn't mean it's going to be popular later on. If anything, whatever popularity this show has now, that doesn't mean it's going to keep it later on. And it's most likely that people who's ever watching this, I think I know which age group is watching this, they're either going to wise up, stop watching this, or be interested in something else. Maybe there might be another show that might come along that's really this stupid and they'll just tag on to that. I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is that this show, let me sum up this show. It's doing something that's popular for the moment. It wasn't made to do something that's for the long run. And I think that was kind of intentional. It wanted something that's keeps people attention for the moment, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to keep their attention later on. And I don't think that was the purpose of this. This was just so we can get some quick ratings, make some money off of people who love the Teen Titans franchise. As in myself, I like Teen Titans, man. I like them I never paid attention to the comic books. It was the TV show that introduced me to them. And here, if anything, this is kind of destroying their name. And I know some people are going to take it that seriously, and it's not, because it's a fucking cartoon, and you shouldn't take it that seriously. You shouldn't say like, oh, well, this ruins my vision of the Titans and stuff like that. No, because the show is stupid, and it knows it's stupid. It's not trying to be smart. It's not trying to be anything better than what it is. Like something like Adventure Time started off stupid, but then they actually started to have continuality, a cohesive story. They actually started saying, well, we actually got something good going on here. Yeah, the first episodes in the beginning was a little random, but what if we continue this line of, you know, continuality? You know, we continue this like an actual fucking show. You know, even regular show does it too. They reference stuff that happened back a few episodes ago. If not the funniest episode on Cartoon Network right now, besides those other two shows I just mentioned, has to be The Amazing World of Gumball, which I've just been watching lately, and it is hilarious. It is hilarious. So, if anything, watch that. I actually recommend that you watch The Amazing World of Gumball, then watch this. Don't watch that. Don't watch this. Don't watch Teen Titans Go. Okay, if you want my honest opinion, don't watch it, because it's not helping your intelligence. It's making you stupider. And I know you can say that, well, that's what junk TV is. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. There are going to be shows like this, and you know what? It's fine to pay attention to them once in a while, but after a while you're going to wise up. You're going to say, yeah, I probably need to do something, watch something a little bit more productive. If anything, read a book. Okay? Find a book, find any book and read it, okay? Read a book. Something. Don't pay attention to this show. God, I can't stress it enough. I can talk and talk about it, and there are going to be people that's not going to agree with me, and I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't care. I thought I was going to watch something that was going to have me, whether it was stupid or not, whether it's going to have my attention, it's going to have me laughing. I was just so bored with this. I'm sitting here, I'm watching the clock on my phone, and I'm just like, you know, let me write down the episodes, the top 5 and stuff like that, and then I just called it a day. I was actually skipping through most of them, like, later on, so, which is probably why a lot of them didn't make the list, and why it seemed like only the first 5 episodes made the list, or first few episodes only made the list, but I don't even care. I didn't even care about the list, to be honest with you. I just want to be done with this. And you know what? I am done with this. I was supposed to go on and do the next season. I'm stopping production right now. No more Teen Titans Go, okay? Whatever I move on to is going to be the next series. And who knows what the hell that's going to be. Actually, I think I have something in mind. As a matter of fact, what is going to be the next series? No. Oh. No. 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 Oh, God. No. Oh, I can't. It won't be that bad, right? Oh, shit. Oh. Oh. I'm SoranotRoxas, and thank you for watching my Teen Titans Go series review. Be sure to check out part 1, and I'll see you in the next video. Really, My Little Pony? God damn it!
I hear she bakes people into her pie.